Um, so it is my privilege to handle this session, something which is um, not the academics or technology, whatever you have gone through in the past few days. So this is something about the life skills. So for the next maybe 45 minutes or 1 hour, I'm going to handle this session. And I don't know how many of you are the repeated audience of this session, because I have given this session more than 6-7 times in the during this pandemic period. And if there are some repeated audience, kindly bear with me, because I'm going to take the same session what I have given even in the last time also. So I have not even changed the PPT. This is in this session I'm talking something about our life. There are two things. One is standard of life, and another one is standard of living. See, living standard we all today, because today people are having a lot of wealth, and we are improving the living standard. But there is a question that we are we really have the standard of life? That is a big question. So in this session, and I'm going to discuss something about that standard of life. My dear members, in this life, in this small life, in our small life, and what we are expecting, and what for we are living, and are we satisfied, or are we happy about the way what we are living? That we must think twice. See, there are people like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Mahatma Gandhi, and today is the birth anniversary of Mahakavi Bharatiyar, and who was the renowned poet in Tamil Nadu, and today is his birth anniversary, and how they lived and how we are living. And there is a lot of difference, and why that is the difference, and we are going to discuss in this session. Just wait, I will open my PPT. Are you able to see my PPT?
Yes, sir. We could see your PPT, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. So this we are going to think something about art of living. See how we should have a standard of standard life. See, you can see this first slide. That is, see, there is some difference between human being and animal. See, any animal if you are taking, and these animals will be happy once their physical needs are satisfied. Physical comfort, if they are getting proper food and proper shelter or whatever may be, and then any animal will be happy, but not the human being. A human being can be happy if he gets satisfied with the three things. Okay, because that is his physical comforts, his emotional satisfaction, and his intellectual perfections. All the three are getting satisfied, then a human being can live a happy or harmonious life. But any animal, they don't need any emotional satisfaction, and they don't need any intellectual perfection, and only physical comforts. If an animal is getting its physical comfort, then they are happy. See now, the bottom, that question, as I told in the beginning, standard of living and standard of life. See, what is standard of living? And the standard of living means having a big bungalow, and having a luxurious car, and having a lot of money. So we are having a lot of wealth. Then actually, so that is actually the standard of living. And the standard of life means, so that is something about, so standard of living is something talking about our external requirements. But the standard of life mean it is the inner satisfaction. See, whether by even having all the things, that is good wealth, a big bungalow, car, and all the things. So whether we are internally happy, or whether we are satisfied our life, is a big question mark. See, many people now, we are thinking that if money is there, then we can be happy. See, then all the rich people would have been happy. See, we know in the nearly 1 year before, in the Karnataka, the Coffee Day owner, and he is a owner of nearly 20,000 crore property, but he was not happy. He has committed suicide. We know all. So it is not that money, and it is not that wealth, and it is something more than that is required to lead our life happy and harmonious. So what is the other thing required, and that we are going to discuss in this 1 hour session. See, as I told, so it is not the external happiness, external in the sense all the pleasures. That means by having a lot of wealth, or by having a good bungalow, car, and all the things. It is not alone will give happiness to any human being. And the human being is having a very important software called mind. See, whenever we are taking a computer, a hardware as well as a software. And if you are taking a human being, the hardware is our body. Our body. So this body can be satisfied, and when we are getting some delicious food, or when luxury, some other luxuries, body can be. But the software, our mind, and when the mind will get satisfied, when the mind can be in peace, when then only we can lead a harmonious life. Okay, so it is not only the external thing, and we must see that our inner instrument should be tuned properly, so that we can lead a happy and harmonious life. See now, you can see this slide. So in the outside, never recognized and experienced by the individual, but only as interpreted by his own mind. See, actually, in outside the world, all the people are not seeing the outside the world alike. So depends upon their mind. Okay, depends upon their mind, and they will interpret the things whatever is happening in outside. So now actually in this juncture, and we should know something about our mind. Okay, I in this complete session, and I want to tell something about our mind. So this is a question, and what is mind? See, mind is, and many of us are thinking that mind is thought. But actually, whether mind is thought, if we are asking a question, that is not exactly correct. Mind is not exactly the thought. Okay, because Whenever there are thought, there is a mind. Whenever there is no thought, there is no mind. So mind is not exactly the thought, but there are lot of relationship between mind and the thought, because when there are thoughts, then there is a mind, and when there is no thought, there is no mind. For example, in deep sleep, there is no thought, and therefore there is no mind. So that means now and from here you can understand that the mind and the thought are highly interrelated. So now actually you can read the bottom line. If the thoughts are calm, then the mind is calm. If the thoughts are agitated, the mind is agitated. If the thoughts are hopeful, then the mind is hopeful. So that means, see, there is normally they used to tell a good example to tell about the mind. See, it is mind is something like a river, and thoughts are something like the water flowing in the river. See, whenever the water flowing in the river, the quality of the river is depends upon the water flowing in the river. For example, the water flowing is muddy, then the river is a muddy river, and the clean water is flowing, the river is a clean river. Now we know in Chennai the famous Kuam. So that means the quality of the water flowing decide the quality of the river. In a very similar way, the quality of our thoughts will decide the quality of our mind. If the quality of thoughts are hopeful, then our mind will be hopeful. See, the quality of the thoughts are very, very important, because the mind is everything. Now you can see here, a man may have beautiful body, a big car, $1 million, but if his mind is bad, he is bad. See, a person's mind is bad, then he is bad. If his mind is good, the whole world is attracted towards him. See, he may be very rich, and he may have a lot of money with him, but if his mind is not good, then nobody will say he is a good person. So that means that it is not that money, it is not that wealth, it is not the comfort and whatever is having, or it is not even about his beautiful body decide his quality. His quality is decided by his mind. See, now we can tell many example here about. See, we read about Mahatma Gandhi, and we read about Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and we read about that is Mother Teresa, and there are people like that, Swami Vivekananda, and Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and so many people. See, it is because of their mind. See, when I came to know from one of my friend and who met Mother Teresa, and he was sharing his experience with Mother Teresa. So he went to Calcutta to see Mother Teresa, and he went to her ashrama in the around, I think, 10 o'clock in the morning. He went there to meet her, and he was sitting to meet her. By the time, and she in the office, there was a phone call from some local people saying that there was a man laying in the street in a very bad condition. And a lot of bad smells are coming, and that fellow is with sickness, and all the things. They got a phone call, and immediately Mother Teresa, it seems, she was taking a van and with a few people, and she was rushing to that place. And that man, and who was there with very bad shape, with the disease, and also his body completely wounds in his body, and there was a very bad smell, not even a good cloth, and he was about to die. So Mother Teresa took him, and she brought him to her office and given him a bath and given a good cloth, and she understood that this man is very hungry. She wanted to give him a piece of bread, and she offered him a piece of bread. But that man, he was looking Mother Teresa. He was looking, but he was not even taking that food. And everybody understood that he is very hungry. But even then, that man was not taking that food. He was looking Mother Teresa, and after she died, the people surrounded by Mother Teresa, they were telling her, Mother, you are wasting your time, and you can do your service who deserve, and it is not a person of this condition like that. The people were telling, and it seems Mother Teresa was explaining to them, no, my service is required people like him, because here is a person who never enjoyed love and affection from others. So even though he was very hungry, and he didn't bother about his hungry, and when I am able to give him some love and affection, he enjoyed that. And I am able to give my love and affection to a person, at least at his last minutes, I'm very happy and satisfied with that, like that, it seems Mother Teresa said. And it is clearly indicating her mind. So that means till now, and we have seen so many beautiful ladies, and Mother Teresa was normally, whatever the picture we are seeing, the Mother Teresa, and it is very old, but still she is looking like God, mainly because of her mind. So that means a man is good or bad is decided by his mind only. Okay, therefore we must train and discipline our mind systematically. It is possible to train or discipline our mind. Once we are disciplining and training our mind, then our thoughts will be purified. Once we are having good thoughts, our mind will be good, and we will attract people, and all the people will be attracted towards us, and we can love each and everybody, and each and everyone will be loving us. So that means how we are going to discipline our mind, and that is very, very important. Now I'm going to give a small theory background about the mind, and which will explain the mind. See, now you can just see this slide. See, the human being is having so many layers, that is about based on the functionality of human beings. The first very important layer is called a physical layer, and this layer is called a physical layer. Physical layer means all the five senses. That means ears, skin, eye, tongue, and nose. So we know that the human being is something different from animal, because we are always saying that animal is five sense and human being is having the sixth sense. So what is the five sense? There are being with one sense, and two sense beings are there, three sense, and animals are with the five sense. And we say human being is the sixth, we have sixth sense. So it is mainly based on this one. There are some grass, and which don't have ears, which don't have eyes, which don't have tongue, and which don't have nose. We can see some grass, and it have only body, or we can say it is skin. So such grass are called one cell organism. And similarly, there are two, there are three, there are four, and animals are having ears, skin, eye, tongue, and nose. So that's why we are calling animals are fifth sense, five sense. Why it is a sense mean? Because only these five are getting through this five sense only we are getting knowledge from the outside world. For example, I am giving this seminar. How you are receiving this seminar only through two senses. One is through your ear and another one is through your eyes. So you are seeing my presentation through your eyes and you are listening through your ears. So that means this seminar, or you are getting some knowledge about this seminar through two senses. One is through ears and another one is through your eyes. So similarly, all the five senses, ears, skin, eyes, tongue, nose, only through these five senses, people can get knowledge from the external world. All the five senses are called the physical layers. And next, if you are going through, as I told earlier, that the human being is mainly having physical layer, emotional layer, and intellectual layer. So this layer is called mind. And emotional layer, and here actually the emotional main thing is mind. So in the mind only, thoughts, emotions, desires, drives, ego, impulse, feelings, instinct, and everything will take place in this particular layer, emotional layer. Okay, this is actually in the mind. So the next, another very important layer is called that the intellectual layer. See, this intellectual layer, and here actually this is very, very important, and because in this intellectual layer, and the function of this intellectual layer is called the sixth sense. What we are talking about, the human being is having the sixth sense, means mainly because of the function of this intellect layer only. Because this intellect layer is having certain function, and you can see the function is one is discrimination. So that thing is that a human being can discriminate and it can react accordingly. Yeah, any animal cannot discriminate certain things. For example, a person and who is coming and coming to attack us with a knife. A person who is coming to attack us and he is having a knife with him. And another one, doctor, he is coming to operate us because of some of the disease. He want to operate us, and he is also having a knife. A human being can discriminate these two. That means the knife of a doctor and knife of a person who is coming to attack. He can distinguish both of this and he can act accordingly. See, a person who is coming to attack means, see, we may run away or we may again attack him or something like that, and our reaction will be different. And a doctor is coming with a knife means, and then we can cooperate because he is going to operate to cure our disease. But an animal cannot distinguish both of this. So animal cannot understand this person is coming with a knife to attack me, or the doctor is coming with a knife to operate me. Something like it cannot distinguish. So this sense is called the sixth sense. That means the function or the ability of discrimination, taking a decision, thinking, desire, thoughts, questioning, and this is there only for the human being. So in addition to all the physical layers, five senses, that means ear, skin, eye, tongue, and nose, and the human being is having this one, and this is the intellectual layer, and then he is called the sixth sense. This is called the sixth sense. Okay, so the next one is now actually we are talking about the intellectual layer. We must understand how the intellectual layer works, how the intellectual layer will discriminate, or how the intellectual layer will work means, then actually it will work depends upon the conditioning layer. See, there is a conditioning layer. Conditioning layer means there are a lot of registration or lot of memories in this particular layer. And see, this is a biological conditioning, subconscious conditioning, and the past experience, impressions, conclusions, and all the things. So these all are there as a in the conditioning layer. Just so this is there, and only 1 minute. 1 minute. Just 1 minute. I will continue it. 1 minute. I'm taking a urgent phone call from the office.
Dear participants, kindly stay back. Sarah will be joining shortly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There was a very important call from the office. See this the conditioning layer. Based on the conditioning layer only, the intellectual layers takes that decision. One example I can say, if you are there is a small child. See a child, and if the child is seeing a candle, by seeing the candle and that the fire looks attractively, the child want to catch that fire. So what happened, by catching that, it will burn the finger and it can feel the pain and it will cry and all the things. Now the next time whenever the child is seeing a candle or any fire, it will not go nearby, because whatever the experience the child received the first time it touches the fire have been registered in the conditioning layer. So like this, there are a lot of things registered in our conditioning layer, and based on the registration, and we are taking the decision. Okay, we are taking the decision, and this is actually called the conditioning layer. Now that means most of our decisions are based on the conditioning layer. Conditioning layer. So that means in the conditioning layer, some good things should be registered in the conditioning layer. That is very, very important. Some good things should be registered, because we must take right decisions. Our life itself, mainly, that is the success of the life itself, is based on our decisions. Every day we are taking decisions. See, the success or failure of anybody's life is based on their decisions. So that means to take a decision, the conditioning layer helps. So that means in the conditioning layer, good conditions should be registered in our conditioning layer. So that means the conditioning layer should be purified. Okay, it is always, it should be purified. And there are many times we know that some bad experience also will be registered. See, for example, now we know that is there are a lot of child abuse. See, a girl child and abused by a person in her childhood. So later on, and this after becoming a girl or a woman, and hating the men, it is mainly because of the layer. So that means in that layer there should be a registration that all the human beings are, or all the men are not not bad, and there are few human beings are there, they are bad, and they are acting like a animal. So like this, that the conditioning layer should be purified to that child. Otherwise, what happened then? It will have a psychological effect, and later on in her life, and she hates the humans. So like that, the conditioning layer should be purified, and our conditioning layer should be good. Then our decisions will be good. So then actually there is another one layer called I'm sorry. There is another one layer called purification of personality. The purification of personality, and that means it is nothing but purification of the conditioning layer. How the conditioning layer will be purified? Now you can see this, these are the things. So that means based on the values. Values means first one is honesty, self-control, and ahimsa. So these things will purify our conditioning layer. And another important thing is, and reading some good religious literature, personality development books. So whenever we are reading some good books, religious books or literature books or a personality development books, then some good things will be registered in our conditioning layer. Now another very important thing is self-analysis, introspection, silence. See, whenever we are analyzing ourselves, see, we are sitting maybe in the evening, we are sitting, and whatever happens to us today, and whether we have done right thing, or whether we have, our decision is right or wrong, like that. And if you are doing a self-analysis and introspection, or sitting silently, and you are watching your breathe or mind, something like a meditation type of thing. Now you can see seminar like this. I'm giving a seminar here. Now you are understanding certain things about your mind, and this whatever you are listening here, and that will purify your mind, your conditioning layer. And you can see that yoga, yoga will purify the conditioning layer, the meditation, the japa, and the spirituality. And also another very important thing is company, interaction with the good people. Okay, so this all will purify the conditioning layer. Now here in this diagram, and see the function of our inner, how it will happen, I will explain here. As I told, you can see that is the external world, whatever may be the external world, you can see the green arrow. The external world, whatever the knowledge and or whatever. See, for example, I'm asking a question to you. What happened? That question will be received by your ear. Okay, whatever I'm asking you a question, the question will be received by your ear as a sound, and that will be passed to your mind. So the question will be first processed by your mind. Then what happened? That green arrow again, the mind will refer to the intellect layer. So this is a question, and what would be the answer? Like, it will ask the intellect layer. Then the intellect layer will refer it to the conditioning layer. So in that particular, about this particular question, whether you are having any earlier registrations. For example, I'm asking what is mind. So that means the mind will refer to the intellect layer. Intellect layer will refer the conditioning layer. Is there any storage or any information about mind in the conditioning layer? Then what happened? That conditioning layer will, based on its registration, whether I know the answer, this is the answer, or I don't know the answer, like it will give, you can see the bottom red arrow, and it will give a signal to the intellect layer. Then the intellect layer will send the message to the mind. Then the mind will send the message to the physical layer. The physical layer act, you can, the bottom arrows you can see, through the vocal cord as a speech. Then this is mind, like that it will we will answer, or I don't know, like we will answer based on the conditioning layer, whatever the conditioning layer says, based on that, and we answer it. So this is how our inner thing should act. It should act in this way. If it is acting in this way, then actually our decisions will be good. There are two things here. One is our conditioning layer is having good registration, and the second thing is that the whole that is the action will be done in the sequence. Then our decisions will be good, and we can see the decision means it is based on the decision only our growth or our fall will be there, or our happiness or our sadness, and everything will be based on the based on our decision, because every day we are taking lot of decisions. Okay, lot of decisions. See, based on our decision, see, our happiness or our sadness or our growth or our fall, and everything is based on our decision, and it should supposed to happen in this way. In this way means, again I'm repeating, see, whenever we need to take a decision, the physical layer should refer it to the mind should refer it to the intellect layer, and the intellect layer should refer our conditioning layer, and the conditioning layer based on the condition and experience, and it should refer to the intellect layer. It should be mind, and it should through the physical layer, and the physical layer should give the action through either through vocal cord as a speech or through the legs as a movement. See, for example, we are going into a jungle, and we are seeing a tiger or something like that. Then what happened? Our eyes are seeing the tiger, and it is passing to the mind. See, I'm seeing a animal there. Then the intellect layer is referring to the conditioning layer. See, that is, it is like that. And what is that like? Then actually the conditioning layer, no, I have seen already, I have seen in the zoo, or I have already seen in the picture, and this is actually a tiger, and it is a very cruel animal. Like that, it will direct to the intellect, and intellect will direct to the mind, and mind to the physical layer. Then what happened? The physical layer, then the leg will, you can see the bottom, the leg will be movement. That means we will be running, we'll try to run away. Okay, so like this, the action should take place, and this is the this is called that the universal consciousness, and this is the way of our the function. See, now you can go here. Now that next slide. 1 minute. Now you can, this is a very, very important slide, and it is a you can see most of our actions seems to emanate from the realm of our mind, and we are misled by feelings instead of being guided by our intellectual discrimination. See that the difference between animal and human being is the sixth sense itself is intellectual discrimination. But many times in our life, so we are misled by our feelings. That means in our mind itself is taking a decision instead of the intellectual discrimination. So the intellectual discrimination and that mind is taking a decision, both are different. See, the mind will take a decision based on the feelings. Feelings in the sense, the mind normally it will take a decision based on two feelings. One is pleasure and another one is pain. See, mind is taking this is pleasure means, and it will ask us to do. And whether it is pain means, the mind will prevent us to do it, because the mind will take a decision based on only feelings, whether it is good or bad, that it never. But the intellect will take a decision based on the actual reality, whether it is good, this to be done, or this need not to be done, like. But many times, most of our actions seems to emanate from the realm of our mind, and we are misled by feelings instead of being guided by our intellectual discrimination. And you must understand very clearly. See, whenever the mind is taking a decision, such actions depends upon the whims and fancies of our feelings, are dangerous to our welfare and prosperity. So in Tamil, you know, there is a saying, manam pona pokkallam poga vendam, don't go whatever the mind direct. Okay, along the direction of the mind, don't go. Like that, there is a saying in Tamil, manam pona pokallam poga vendam. Because the mind will never take a right decision. The mind will take a decision based on the feelings. So now many times we are taking a decision. See, now actually why we should not take the decision taken by the mind means, then you can read the next paragraph. Excellent example is given. The mind is like the receiving clerk. If there is an office, the mind is a receiving clerk, just like a receiving clerk. Though the clerk receive the mail, he does not take any action on them, but put them up to the officer in charge for his advice and disposal. A receiving clerk in the office, and he is receiving a mail, and he should not supposed to take any action on the mail. His duty is, and he should forward the mail to the officer and to take a decision by the officer. But if the clerk choose to take action directly, instead of sending that mail to the clerk, if the clerk, instead of sending the mail to the officer, if the clerk himself wants to take a action directly without consulting the officer, they are found to be confusion and chaos in that organization. So if there is an organization, there is a clerk, the clerk is receiving a mail. The duty of the clerk is you send the mail to the officer. So officer should take a decision and he should pass to the clerk, and the clerk should dispatch. And in a similar way, our mind should receive the signal from our physical layers. The duty of the mind is whatever the signal it received, and it should pass it to the intellectual layer to take a decision. But instead of passing the signal received from the physical layer to the intellectual layer, if the mind itself is taking a decision and it is passing to the physical layer, then there will be a lot of chaos in our decisions. Our decision will not be correct, and it is dangerous to our welfare and prosperity. Now, I always used to tell one example, and this example you can clearly understand how the mind is taking a decision and how the intellect is taking a decision. I can give one example. There were two friends. Both were friends from childhood onwards, and now both are working in a software industry. Okay, both are around 35 years, and both are working in a software industry. And one day, one of the friend went to the office, and he was searching his friend, and he didn't come. And around 10:30, 11 o'clock, he received a phone call that his friend his friend got a heart attack and admitted in a hospital. Then immediately he is rushing to the hospital, and his friend was admitted in ICU ward, and he met the doctor. And he asked how his friend was. Then the doctor was explaining to him. See, now the doctor was telling, today the youngsters are not caring their body. Always they want to earn money like that. Completely they are spending their time in work. They are not caring their body. And your friend also like that. He is only 35 years and he never do any exercise in his life. Now he is having 3 blocks in his heart, and now he should undergo a operation like that. The doctor was explaining to him. Then he understood that this fellow also not doing any exercise, or he is also not caring the body. See, caring the body is very, very, very important, my dear participants, and please understand that health is wealth. If we are not caring our health, then actually it is very, very, and it is very, very dangerous, and also our life will be again in chaos. Because see, all the parts of our body, as in the previous slide you have seen, and that is your tongue is responding in giving some speeches, and your leg is carrying you anywhere you want. Leg is, your hands are ready to take or anything, whatever the direction you are giving to the hand. And similarly in the parts, all the body are ready to help you 24 hours. Wherever you want to go, your leg is ready to carry you, and whatever you want to take, your hands are ready to help you. But only the thing you must understand that they are ready to help you, but they cannot take care of themselves. See, the body cannot take care of themselves. You must take care of your body. See, you must keep your body healthy, and you must do some exercise every day to have some fitness. The fitness is very, very important in your life. See, whatever you are earning, or whatever you are having, the wealth and everything, you can enjoy only if you are having some good physical fitness. The physical fitness goes, and nothing can be enjoyed. Whatever, even you can have $1 million with you, and even you can have a luxurious car with you, and even you can have a big bungalow. You can enjoy everything only if you have proper health. So it is our duty, at least every day, minimum 45 minutes, and we should spend to maintain our health in the form of some physical exercise. That is very, very important. So what happened, the doctor was telling, then this fellow was realizing that I am also not caring my body, and one day I also will get a heart attack like that, and I should take care of my body. Like that, his intellect is taking a decision. So now he is going back home, and at the night, and he was taking a decision that tomorrow morning 5 o'clock I should wake up, and I should go for a walk for one hour. Like that, he is taking a decision. Then he is keeping an alarm clock. Okay, he is keeping exactly, he is setting at 5 o'clock alarm. Now what happened, he was sleeping, and 5 o'clock exactly that the machine alarm is ringing. Now you see how he will take a decision. Now what his mind says, see, sleeping in the early morning is a pleasure. 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, the sleepless sleep. That means not deep sleep, a off sleep will be there. That will be more enjoyable, and you sleep like that, the mind says. And it's a pleasure. Sleeping 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock is a pleasure. And in the early morning, and if you are going for a walk, it is a pain, like that, the mind says. But the intellect, what it says, the intellect says, so once if you are sleeping like this, and if you are not doing any exercise, just like your friend, tomorrow you are also having a possibility of getting some heart attack. You go for a walk, like that, intellect says. Now which should take a decision? The mind should not supposed to take a decision. The intellect should take a decision. But actually, which one we are going to, whether the mind's decision is going to be implemented, or the intellect's decision will be taken to implemented, and that will make a lot of change in our life. And if you allow your mind to take a decision, means it will be mainly depends upon the whims and fancies of your feelings. Okay, and that is very dangerous to your welfare and prosperity. But if you are allowing your intellect to take a decision, that means the intellect will take a right decision, and based on the good experiences. And because the mind has registered the experience of his friend, he has not done any exercise, so now he is suffering, and you don't going to be you should not suffer like your friend, and you take proper steps to avoid such troubles. Like that, the intellect will take right decision. So that means now actually the decision from the mind should be avoided, and we must take a decision of our intellect. But whether always it is possible or not possible means, so it is possible only if we train properly, and if we are taking some efforts, some efforts in the form of what I am going to show in the next slides. and then only your intellect can take a decision. If intellect is taking a decision, then actually it will take a right decision, and your decision will be right. Once your decision is right, then actually your life will be happy. Not only your life will be happy, you have a lot of growth in your life, and also a lot of people have love and affection towards you. Now you can sorry. Now you can see here, as I told, now the mind is having two functions. One is receiving the signal from the physical layer and sending to the intellect layer. That is one function. And the second function is receiving from the intellect layer and passing it to the physical layer. Okay, so first it is receiving to the physical layer and sending to intellect layer, and that part of mind is called objective mind. And the second one is receiving the signal from the intellect layer and passing to the physical layer for any action, and that is called subjective mind. See, if there is a harmony between the objective mind and subjective mind, okay, there is a clear harmony and they are doing their functions properly, then actually that decision whatever we are taking is the decision from our intellect layer. If there is no harmony, means there is no harmony means there is another one layer developed between objective mind and subjective mind, and that is called egocentric desire. And the egocentric desire is developed means then actually the right decision will not be taken, because there is no clear synchronize between the objective mind and subjective mind. So that means objective mind to intellect layer signal will not pass, and intellect layer to subjective mind signal will not pass, and this is mainly because of the egocentric desire in our mind. Okay, now as I told, that objective mind is called manas, and we heard about, and the subjective mind is called buddhi. See, now actually why the subjective mind is called buddhi means, so it is implementing the decision taken by our intellect layer. See that buddhi, what is called, so if we are doing something wrong, then what people will ask us, do you have any buddhi, like that they used to ask. So that means the buddhi means that is the part of mind and which is receiving the signal from the intellect layer and communicating it to the physical layer. That is called buddhi. So now actually the individual is whole and healthy in whom the objective and subjective mind work in harmony with each other. Okay, if both are working in harmony to each other, then the individual is having healthy. Healthy mean the mental health. I'm talking about the mental health, not the physical health here. It is the mental health. If the divorce between them is mainly created by a layer of egocentric desire entertained by the individual, if the egocentric desire is developed in our mind, then actually there will not be a harmony between the objective mind and subjective mind. Hence, the decision will be taken by the mind itself, not by the intellectual layer. Now you can see here this whatever may be. See here. Now you can the bottom line, the last line, just I want to read it. That's why I just want to tell you to bring the subjective and objective aspects of the mind together into a happy union, where the objective mind is well disciplined to act faithfully as per the guidance of the subjective mind, is called yoga. That is called yoga. See, yoga means so this is accomplished only by the removal of our egocentric desires. Okay, So this keeping the mind in a harmony, then actually there is a what here it is they are talking about the yoga. So here just I want to give a small fundamental, and I will take not more than 5 minutes. See, there are three gunas to any persons. Okay, three important gunas. One is sadviha guna. Okay, this is a Sanskrit word. One is sadviha guna, and another one is rajasa guna, and another one is tamasam. A sadviha means, and this is for all the good habits. A sadviha means it is a good all for the good habits. Rajasa means, and it is responsible to do all the initiatives or all the works or whatever may be initiatives. That is Rajasam. Tamasam means, and it is responsible for all the bad thinking, okay, or the evil thinkings. Now, one thing you can understand that, so our breathe and our breathe and our what I can say is our feelings are many times highly interrelated. Our breathe and our feelings. For example, we are in an angry mood. When we are very angry, at the time you just keep your finger and you observe your breathe. The breathe will have different vibration. And whenever you are very calm, at the time you keep your finger and you observe your breathe, the breathe will be different. So whenever you are calm, and your gunas will be sadviha guna, and whenever you are anger, your guna will be tamasa guna. So that means whenever the guna differs, your breathe differs. So that means in vice versa, whenever you are having proper breathe, then your gunas will differ. So there are a lot of exercise to control our breathe. So that exercise to control our breathe, and that will change our gunas. So that means there are exercise. Okay, these exercise that is breathing exercise will change our guna, and that will erase our egocentric desires. Okay, and there is a very important thing is about there are now today one thing I want to tell you, and it is I'm not talking about any religious. Don't think I'm talking about the religion. It is not religion. See, we can see there are a lot of Swamijis or sadhus. Okay, good or bad, there are Sri Ravi Shankar ji is there, and another one in Coimbatore, another one Swamiji is there. So these people are good or bad. I'm not going to discuss about they are good people or bad people. I'm not going to discuss about that. But they have very popularity in abroad. In many countries, they are having their ashramams, and they are earning plenty of money. See, one thing you can understand, without nothing, they cannot spread their wings like that. So that means whether they are good or bad, they are having something with them. There are some techniques they have. That technique is nothing but their breathing techniques they have. They learned the breathing techniques. So that means once if you are regulating or you are doing the breathing exercise, so these all the people, and they have the breathing techniques, and they are teaching, and they are spreading their wings across the world. So that they have, because this is scientifically proved. Once if you are controlling your breathe, in there are some breathing exercise. One is called a pranayam is there, and in some basic things, so many things are there, and also meditation. You heard about meditation. So meditation also will control our breathe. So if it is controlling our breathe means, then actually those breathe will keep us in sadviha guna. Once the sadviha guna and that breathe is keeping us in the sadviha guna, then our egocentric desire will be erased. So these things, that means the practice to our breathe or practice to our mind. So these exercises are very, very essential to keep our inner health. That means our mental health. And today, you know, in the abroad, in that especially in the Western countries, there are a lot of psychological issues. There are very lot of psychological issues because the mind is working very fast, and the body is not capable of synchronizing with the mind speed. So there is a lot of mismatch. So that means the mind also should be controlled, and the mind should be kept in sadviha guna, and it required a lot of practice, our breathing practice, breathing exercise, yoga, and meditation. See, it is nothing related to any religion. Don't think that I'm preaching any particular religion. It is I'm not at all preaching any particular religion, but actually our inner health can be maintained only if you are doing some breathing exercise or a yoga or a meditation. Meditation means based on any religion. You sit and you concentrate in between your eyebrows, and saying any of your god or any of your mantra, your religion mantra. You sit in a place and you concentrate, complete concentration in between the eyebrows, and tell your god name, and you sit and observe your breathe. So now what happened is your breathe will be controlled, because in initial stages lot of thoughts will disturb you. And if you goes on practicing, and the thoughts will be controlled, and your breathe will be controlled, and your breathe will take you to sadvika guna, and this regular practice will erase your egocentric desire. And later on, and once if you are having lot of practice like that, most of your decision will be taken by your intellectual layer. And this practice, there are two things I want to tell you. And if you want to lead a happy life, art of living, two very, very important thing I want to suggest you. One is maintaining the body health. Health is wealth. So at least every day you spend 45 minutes to maintain your body in the form of some good exercise, some walk, or some jogging, some good exercise, and another half an hour to train your mind in the form of your breathing exercise, your yoga, and your meditation. And 1 hour 15 minutes every day you are spending without missing even a single day, without any holiday. And if you are doing, and you will be healthy, and whatever the decision you are taking will be a positive decision. The decision will be taken by your intellect layer, and if it will not depends upon your feelings, and your decision is right means, and definitely you will be happy in your life, and your growth will be very high. And this is certain things I want to tell through this seminar in this short duration of time. And my wishes to all of you. Thank you so much for your patience listening.